Time to play the sexist card and paint WWE in every single negative light that she can in order to try and promote her new book. So what we're going to do is, there's a few paragraphs here from the book, we're going to read over them. I will give my opinion on them, but the main thing is Ronda Rousey shooting on the sexist, degrading bullshit that women in WWE were put through over the years, and she's talked about the struggles that female wrestlers have faced. I'm not quite sure what Ronda Rousey is talking about in terms of the struggles that they have faced and the sexist, degrading bullshit, because you look at a lot of the women in WWE around that time, they wanted to do that. They were fitness models that were happy to show off their body. They wanted to be in the photo shoots. They wanted to pose for Playboy. They wanted the attention. They wanted the following, the popularity. They wanted the WWE contracts that came with that and the money. So let's not pretend that these women were like forced onto TV and stripped down without their consent, because that's not the case, okay? They were happy to do it. I mean, Tori Wilson talks about how she felt uncomfortable in like some segments, not wearing much clothes, yet she goes and poses for Playboy. I mean, you talk about hypocritical, but of course with this McMahon thing going on right now, it seems like everybody will just come out and attack WWE. Now, is there maybe one or two moments that maybe crossed the line? Like Trish Stratus, maybe that barking like a dog thing, she might not have been comfortable with that, but I guarantee you Trish Stratus was comfortable getting in bra and panty matches and taking off her clothes. Now, does she maybe have a different opinion now that she's pushing 50? Does she look back on that and maybe regret that? Possibly, but let's not pretend like when they were back in the day that the women were so against this. Stacey Keibler, do you think her bending over the rope and showing off her ass, do you think she was mortified at the fact of doing that? Or do you think she was like, hey, if I do this, I'm going to be one of the most popular women on the roster, so I'm going to do it? Of course that's the case. I mean, you look at Sable, Playboy, Sunny, Playboy. These are women that always felt comfortable when they were showing off their bodies, and a lot of them were beautiful, so they had every right to do so. Even SoCal Foul from TNA, don't know if you remember the name, but she came out like a year, 2 years ago, and she bashed this new women's movement. She says that it's fine if you want to have women that are wrestlers and that are serious wrestlers, but she says that she only got into the business because she wanted to be a diva. She wanted to be the glamour side of wrestling. She wanted to be the ballet. She wanted to be sexy. So this is SoCal Foul, an actual wrestler, saying that she liked what happened in the Divas era and that she pretty much lost interest as soon as wrestling got away from that. And funny enough, we don't see SoCal Foul wrestling anymore, not involved with any wrestling companies. She was someone that actually wanted to be there for her looks and to show off her looks, but apparently women aren't allowed to do that now, according to Ronda Rousey and everybody else. And you know what? People always bash the women for the Divas era and the era before that. I know the Divas era is probably considered like 2008 to 2014 or whatnot, but a lot of people also consider Trish and Lita's era the Diva era. Basically anything before this women's revolution is considered a Divas era. But here's the fucking facts, alright? Trish, Lita, Tori Wilson, Stacey Keibler, they are way more popular and will always be more popular than this current generation of female wrestlers, okay? It doesn't matter how much they push Becky Lynch or Charlotte Flair down our throats. Nobody gives a fuck. The average man would much rather watch Trish Stratus in 2002 than watch any women's match go 20 minutes and have these big, ugly-looking fucking dudes like Rhea Ripley and fuck Raquel and Shayna Baszler. Nobody cares for them, right? It is what it is. It's not a wrestling thing. It's a life thing, okay? Looks always matter. Not just to women. Looks matter to men as well, okay? You have to have a certain look as a male wrestler to get pushed. Let's not pretend that it's only women, because Ronda Rousey tries to claim it's only women. Oh, women only get judged by their appearance. It's not fair. Bullshit. as a man, you have to look the part as well. You cannot main event if you're this little skinny little fucking toothpick back in the day. It didn't happen. Plus, if you're a good looking guy, your chances of being the top guy, they drastically go up. There's a reason John Cena was the top guy and not Snitsky, okay? John Cena was a lot more promotable. John Cena had that look. The women loved him. I mean, look, where's the hypocrisy in that? I mean, the men can't enjoy women in wrestling for looking hot, but like in the mid-2000s, pretty much the only people that Cena had cheering him were the kids and the women that found him attractive. So it's okay for the women to cheer John Cena and cheer Batista because they like his muscles. Oh, look at the body. Like Batista, big main event star. He was fucking chiseled. He had that look. You know, he looked like a badass. A lot of women found him attractive. Same thing for Roman Reigns. A lot of women find him attractive. Same thing with The Rock. So let's not pretend that attractive men their attractiveness doesn't help them get to the top of the card. Now, would I say looks is important? Is it as important for men as it is for women? Probably not. No, of course not. But let's not pretend that it's only women that get judged on looks, because that pisses me off, man. But anyway, let's get into it. So, this is Ronda Rousey talking about the struggles that female... I fucking cannot stand Ronda Rousey, and I cannot stand people bashing the previous era. Trish Stratus is better than anybody from today. Even if you take away the bra and panties matches, even if you take away the fact that Trish was a blonde bombshell, and the women's rosters today, like, they fucking look like men, take that aside, Trish had a way better character. Trish was way more likeable. Trish was better on the mic as well, and you felt a bigger connection to Trish. Absolutely 100%. And the most important thing is she was in a better era. Trish used to come out, she was in segments with The Rock, segments with Jericho, segments with Bubba Ray, you know, segments with Vince McMahon. Trish was in so many good segments. You name it, she was in there with them. Like, you look at Lita, she was with the Hardys, she was with Edge, she was with Kane. Like, these women... Stacey Keibler was with Finns, Tori Wilson was with Finns, they were with Tess, Scott Steiner, Tori was pretty much in segments with everybody on SmackDown. You know, Tori was like the main poster child of SmackDown. Tori Wilson was way more popular than any female today, and same goes for Trish, same goes for Lita, same goes for Stacey Keibler, man. I'm not having it when people run them down. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. Anyway, let's get into it. This is what Ronda Rousey had to say. Once again, we will go with like one paragraph and then I'll respond to it. So, first paragraph, quote, WWE loves to do well-produced video segments about the legacy of women within the organisation, but the truth is, women have largely been footnotes. For the longest time, they were relegated to serving male characters in a valet role, an overly sexualised supporting character that takes cheap shots when the ref isn't looking. Over time, as the level of female talent grew and society as a whole started to shift, the organisation gradually expanded the role of female wrestlers. End of quote. Right, okay. Yes. Is what she's... Well, I don't agree with the fact that she's saying they were relegated to serving male characters. I mean, the way she says serving, it almost makes it sound like, you know, these women were like owned or they were slaves or something like that. No, being a valet, being a manager doesn't necessarily mean you're owned or you're a servant. That's the wrong word, okay? A lot of these women were just managers, they were just valets, or they were girlfriends or wives or whatever. They weren't slaves, they weren't servants. So that's you know, it's just Ronda Rousey using that word there to try and make it seem like women were, oh, their husbands owned them and they didn't have their own freedom and they had to be shackled next to their husband at ringside. That's not the case. And yeah, so what? That women predominantly had that role. Like I said, SoCal Val talked about wanting that role. She liked that role. And people would just rather, it is what it is, people would just rather watch men fight. Fighting's brutality, okay? Fighting is a macho thing. Men don't tend to want macho women. They want masculine women. It is what it is. Whether it be WWE, whether it be boxing, or whether it be UFC or whatnot, people would rather watch the men fight. That's why in boxing, nobody really cares about women's boxing. It's all about the men. In UFC, it's the same thing. Now, yeah, some people find women attractive in UFC, and that's a large part as to what... Like, you look at Paige Van Sant. People liked her. Probably one of the more popular UFC fighters. Where is she now? She's not fighting in UFC. She's taking her clothes off in OnlyFans. So, you know, keep it right here. But So what? People would rather watch men fight than women. What's wrong with that? Well, there's nothing. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just like, you know, fucking grown men would probably rather watch women fucking dance than watch men dance. You know, because dancing's more of a feminine thing, fighting's more of a masculine thing. It makes sense that you would rather watch a masculine man fight than two women fight. You know, it is what it is. So I don't agree with that whatsoever. Then she says, quote, WWE bills itself as sports entertainment organisation, and just like in the mainstream entertainment industry, there was by all accounts a casting couch culture where men backstage in powerful positions pressured female talent for sexual favours in return for airtime. There were so many public accusations and scandals, it's hard to keep track, and more that I'm sure the WWE managed to sweep under the rug. End of quote. Alright, look, I'm not going to say this is a great thing, but here's the deal, okay? This casting couch or whatever, and by the way, apparently this happens to men as well. Let's not pretend this only happens to women, but I'm always fair, okay? I'm willing to bet this happens to women way more than it happens to men, but let's not pretend that sometimes men have to do favours in order to get the roles they want, okay? But let's just take this, let's just logically think of this, okay? No one is being forced into it. If you choose to do that, then that's on you. Is it shady? Yes. Is the proposition itself not nice? Absolutely. Is it like shady? 100%. But it's not like they're being forced into it, right? If there is someone backstage or a movie role or whatever, wasn't it that Harvey Weinstein apparently, I don't know, for sexual favours with, what's her name, the Jennifer Lawrence? Apparently there's a rumour that she slept with him or whatever to get roles in movies. Now, if she's willing to do that in order to reap the rewards, then that's on her. You know, she's making that choice. Is it a sleazebag move for him to make that offer in the first place? Yes, it is. But if she accepts it, then that makes her a sleazebag too. So you can't have your cake and eat it, alright? It's like you can't make money on OnlyFans, but not be ridiculed for like selling your body or, you know, posting naked and doing all this sexually explicit shit on the internet. So it is what it is, okay? Maybe it's a sleazebag move to proposition these sexual favours, but if you accept them, then that's entirely on you. So it is what it is. I don't really see the big deal there. That happens to everything, not just wrestling. Third paragraph, quote, women weren't just being demeaned backstage, but centre stage. Up to 2007, bra and panty matches where female wrestlers won the match by stripping their opponent down to their underwear were an actual fucking thing. Even after that gimmick was retired by WWE executives, I'm sure very reluctantly and with a lot of lamenting about political correctness, it was clear that the organisation placed more value on a woman's physical appearance than her physical ability. Yes, I think the organisation does place more value on a woman's physical appearance than her physical ability. Again, I don't see anything wrong with that. We're in the entertainment business. If you look at movies, you look at Hollywood, a lot of women are in movies because they're attractive, okay? Name me a female that isn't attractive that gets lead roles in big movies. Like, and I'm not talking like maybe a comedy movie where you possibly don't need to be the most attractive, but if we're talking women that get, like, you know, the lead roles in movies, a lot of them aren't necessarily great actresses, but they're attractive, okay, and that's what it is there. So, you know, so what? Like, it's not even like they denied it. Back in the day, the whole thing was a diva search. See, when they were doing the diva search, they wanted to see who had the best bodies, who had the best personality, who looked better in a bikini. They didn't ask on the diva search. They weren't asking all 10 women to write who can do a better German suplex. I mean, there's no hiding that. That's factual. I don't know why she's trying to pretend that she's Einstein as if she's discovered this. No, bitch. It was fucking very clear, and I mean, it is. But, like, you know, it's like, let's say beauty pageants, for example. Okay, they exist. They're okay. Look at modelling. So it's okay for women to do modelling. It's absolutely fine for women to model and for women to use their looks and to use their bodies to their advantage, and they're okay to do that. But if WWE, if a man wants to judge a woman and he believes that a woman's body may be her best asset, if a man decides that, then all of a sudden it's fucking wrong, according to Ronda Rousey. I don't get it. And I mean, it's funny because Ronda Rousey talks like this. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, she was in UFC, but she wasn't the greatest fighter. And would anyone have really cared about Ronda Rousey if she wasn't attractive? I think the answer to that is no. Plus, during the peak of her UFC career, what was Ronda Rousey doing? She was doing photo shoots. She was doing all this like swimwear. She was posting like without bras and shit. She talks about bra and panty matches, but she was posting. She was literally doing magazines where she had no clothes on, and she was holding the gloves up. The gloves were the only thing that was hiding her chest. So how can she? It's hypocritical, man. It's, you know what, I'm actually so fucking pissed off here. I might actually say the wrong things, so might say something I might say something I'll regret. Let's quickly get through this. But Ronda Rousey is pissing me off. What a hypocritical bitch, man. Seriously, claiming, oh, look at WWE, they care more about the physical appearance, and then you've got her in every fucking magazine, you know, showing off her body, the pink gloves hiding her boobs. She's on the swimsuits, or this magazine, that magazine. You can't have it fucking both ways. The way Ronda Rousey's talking about here, like WWE should only care about the physical ability. So therefore, Ronda Rousey shouldn't have done any photo shoots because that's her physical appearance, not her ability. The only photos that should have been taken of Ronda Rousey is when she was pummeling someone in the octagon. That's what Ronda Rousey's essentially saying here. You know, what a fucking hypocrite. Anyway, paragraph 4, quote, "The Divas era with its pink rhinestone butterfly title belt donned around the same time. Women, while now portrayed as wrestlers, were still expected to look a certain way. Think a lots of makeup, little clothing and huge boobs. It would almost take another decade, years after I proved women could be a huge combat sports attraction, before women truly started to get in the squared circle, what diehards call a pro wrestling ring." End of quote. Alright, she says that she proved women could be huge in a combat sports attraction, and I'm not denying that Ronda Rousey was huge, but again, if Ronda Rousey was, you know, if she was as ugly as a rock, it doesn't matter how dominant she was in UFC, she wouldn't have had the momentum, she wouldn't have had the hype, she wouldn't have had the popularity. The fact that she is pretty attractive, the fact that she was posing in magazines, topless, the fact that she was in the beach with all this sort of swimwear, doing all these photo shoots, modelling shoots, that is what helped Ronda Rousey get over. It wasn't just locking in arm bars, because she was pretty boring as a fighter. So one-dimensional. All she had was the armbar. That was it. And she talks about, think of lots of makeup and little clothing. Does she look at wrestlers in 2024? I mean, they wear more makeup now than they ever did before. That's undeniable. As well as the hair extensions. Look at all the hair extensions they wear now. I mean, back in the day, the women actually didn't wear much makeup. They didn't wear much accessories. I mean, you look at the women now and their fucking eyelashes, hair extensions, lip fillers, makeup, nose jobs. I mean, you name it. Like, a lot of them are like 100% plastic, man. You can pretty much recycle any woman on the roster now. It's a fucking joke. The women back in the day were naturally hot. You know, they were like natural beauties, and they looked good. They didn't have to wear tons of makeup. So I don't know what she's talking about here, claiming that now they don't wear makeup and they don't wear little clothing. They fucking do. I mean, look at Ronda Rousey. Her shorts were so far up her ass, man, that she was every time she done a move, she was pulling her shorts down. And you know what? Why was that? Why was that? Why did she want her shorts going right up her ass and giving her a camel toe? Why did Ronda Rousey want that? Because you can't argue it was a one-off thing. Yeah, her first match, maybe she could pick the wrong attire, but then you would change it. She fucking had the same fucking shorts for her entire WWE career. She was constantly picking them out of her ass. I mean, come on. What about hypocritical for sure. Quote, paragraph number 5, and quote, "It was only after WWE basically armbarred into it, following a global social media backlash, to give Divas a chance, after Divas were given a total of 30 seconds less time than it takes people to read this paragraph for a nationally televised tag match. 4 women were given less time to collectively wrestle than every single man on the roster got for his intro music alone. Presented this information as a person outside of wrestling world, you might draw the conclusion that there is troubling foundational sexist patriarchal culture within WWE. You would be right. I have nothing but respect for the female wrestlers who paved the way for the women wrestlers today, and nothing but disgust for the amount of sexist, degrading bullshit they were put through. End of quote. Well, I mean, I disagree 100%. You look at the women back in the day. The women back in the day were mega over because they weren't afraid to show off their sex appeal. They had a different side to them. Like, when you see the men fight, you don't want, well, why would you want women to fight like men when they just cannot do it as good? The women can give you something that the men can't. You know, it's like the cruiserweight division, for example. The cruiserweight division. Nobody wanted to see the cruiserweights go out and wrestle the way that, you know, the men, the top division, the heavyweight division of the men did, because they're little guys. Nobody wants to see these little guys wrestle a heavyweight style match. Okay, so they had their cruiserweight style, and it was an attraction. It was something worth watching. Same for hardcore wrestlers, okay? But these hardcore wrestlers, maybe they didn't offer much. Maybe, you know, they didn't really have the selling ability. They didn't have the look. They didn't have the size. So therefore, they could use weapons. They could have hardcore matches, and that would be another attraction. It would give them something different from the main event. And it's the exact same with the women. The women can use their sex appeal. The women can fight like women, like cat fight, like Joey Styles. Maybe men would like to see women slap. Maybe they like the hair pulls. Why do they want to see these 5'6" women wrestle like men? Like, why do they want to see this 160-pound, you know, chick? Oh, that's pretty. Hold on, that's pretty big for a chick. Why do they want to see like these 110-pound chicks try to wrestle like a 300-pound guy? Nobody wants to see that. It doesn't make any sense, right? Women have always been, in my opinion, a good thing in wrestling, but they've always been an attraction, you know. They've always been a part of the show, but not the main part of the show. And now wrestling is trying to push the women as 50-50, and it's embarrassing. Last, I think, Raw 2 weeks ago, first 2 hours was only women. I mean, come on, nobody wants to watch that. There's a reason why wrestling is fucking considered embarrassing now. I mean, you would not tell the average person on the street that you watch wrestling, unless you're a nerd and you're not unless you're not even conscious here about how, like, poorly wrestling is looked at, the negative light on wrestling. I mean, wrestling is not a proud thing. You don't say, oh, I watch wrestling, you know, that ain't going to get you any women. People are going to probably not be your friend anymore. You tell somebody you watch wrestling, and they're going to go, fuck, look at this loser. And that's not the way it was back in the day, but it's the way it is now. Wrestling's getting watched by less people. And a part of it is because the women are getting pushed so much. The women are getting pushed like the men, and they shouldn't be, because they're not the men, they're not the main event, they're not the attraction that everybody comes to see. They are the sideshow, and it's as simple as that. Just like hardcore wrestling, just like cruiserweight wrestling, it's like the midgets. You remember when in WWF, like the Attitude Era, or just before it, they had like Mini-Me, and then McMahon was like bringing in these like mini wrestlers. That's like people clutching onto that and saying, well, the mini wrestlers deserve to be pushed in the same light as the big wrestlers, and then they have mini wrestlers stealing main events away for like the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. Instead of the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, the main event's like two guys that are 3'2". I mean, come on. Everything in wrestling's got its place. Just like tag team wrestling isn't the main event, just like hardcore wrestling or cruiserweight wrestling isn't the main event, women are not the main event, guys. It's as simple as that. Anyway, a bit of a long video here. I think we're going to end it. Fuck Ronda Rousey. Her WWE run absolutely sucked. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, though, peace.